Welcome back to Ghost Pirate Entertainment. I'm your host, Kanan Becker, and today we do another deep dive into Tubi. And let's get to the list.
The lost stories. People are gonna die anyways, but their stories don't have to.
Starfish is a 2016 British sci-fi drama thriller. Written and directed by Bill Clark, it stars Joanne Froggatt and Tom Riley. It's a story about a girl who's grieving the loss of her best friend, which so happens to take place on the day the world ends.
My name is Aubrey Parker, and I think I might be the last person left. Hello? Anybody?
This is a quiet, artistic movie that's creative and full of layers. It's not a big explosion kind of movie. Instead, it deals with quiet mystery, uncomfortability, and dread. But I love the creativity here, the different directions that it takes along the way. I think this is a dramatic, entertaining film and one you should absolutely add to your list. Borgman is a 2013 Dutch psychological drama thriller. Directed by Alex van Wormerdam, it stars Jan Beachvoet and Hadwig Minnis. It's about a mysterious vagrant who turns the lives of an arrogant upper-class family into a psychological nightmare. This is a disturbing, extremely uncomfortable movie. It just drags you through the mud, slowly but surely becoming more and more uncomfortable, more and more full of dread and anxiety. This is not what everybody considers a horror movie. It's not a supernatural movie. It's not something that deals with ghosts and scares on a traditional level. But if you're like me, and those kind of scares have worn off over the years from watching so many movies, then movies like this, ones that get under your skin, make you feel dirty, make you feel like you need to take a shower, just make you so uncomfortable and full of anxiety, then if that's the case, this is a fantastic pick. Monsters is a 2010 sci-fi thriller. Written and directed by Gareth Edwards in its featured directorial debut. It stars Scoot McNairy and Whitney Able. 6 years after the Earth has suffered an alien invasion, a journalist agrees to escort an American tourist through the infected zone in Mexico to the safety of the US border.
All I want is to get back to America. I'm just asking you to help me out here.
Very difficult journey, very risky, very dangerous.
This has been one of my absolute favorite hidden gem horror movies or thrillers to recommend to people over the years because it has just always flown under the radar, which blows my mind, especially now with what Gareth Edwards has gone on to do. I mean, he directed a Star Wars movie. He did The Creator from last year, and then most recently he was announced to sign on to be the next director for the Jurassic World movie coming out next year. So this guy does some big stuff, and he also is a phenomenal special effects artist. He did basically everything in this movie, especially when it comes to special effects. But this is a beautifully shot, beautifully directed. I love the pacing of it. It is a slow moving film, and in some ways it is a slow burn, but it's so beautiful that you don't want it to rush. You just enjoy everything that this world has to offer because it's so interesting and it feels very grounded. It feels like a world that could actually exist, except for in this world, there are these huge, wild aliens. This is a brilliant movie and one that I highly recommend. Sunchoke is a 2015 psychological thriller, written and directed by Ben Cresseman. It stars Sarah Hagen, Barbara Crampton, and Sarah Malika Lane. Forced to endure a bizarre health regimen by her caretaker, a recovering mental patient becomes obsessed with a young woman to whom she feels an inexplicable connection.
Who do you see?
save me.
This is another very small movie. This whole list is kind of made up of hidden gem kind of movies, but this one I found to be so captivating. It's another one that's fairly slow as it gets going, but as things build and as you start to question what is reality and who you're seeing this movie through the eyes of, are you seeing it through the main character or what exactly is going on? It gets more and more entertaining, and one that I think is just fun to decipher. The cast do a great job, and I really appreciate the look and style of this movie as well. It just does a really good job to me of pulling you in and intensifying things as it goes. This is another interesting little movie and absolutely worth checking out.
I don't see any. He needs us.
Ghoul is a 2015 Czech mockumentary horror movie. Directed by Petr Jakul, it stars Jennifer Armour, Jeremy Isabella, and Paul S. Tracy. An American film crew goes to Ukraine to investigate the stories of widespread cannibalism, only to summon the spirit of a notorious serial killer cannibal.
In 1932 and 1933, Ukraine suffered a terrible famine, which led many people to resort to cannibalism.
If you're a fan of mockumentary, found footage kind of horror movies, this one I think will be right up your alley. It's one of my favorites when it comes to that type of movie. It's mostly done to feel more like a documentary, so it's not a super shaky cam as some, found footage movies you'll see. And because of that, it's more well produced than a lot of those as well. But as it gets towards the end and the climax of this movie, it does get a little more handheld feeling. But it's so original and creative, because it takes all these real life events, these atrocities, and blends them together to make this really creepy, absolutely chilling story. I also think it's really well acted and performed by this whole cast. And the special effects, even though they're not huge, they're extremely well done and just feel real. So like I said, if you're a fan of mockumentary, found footage, that subgenre of horror, then this is one you absolutely need to see. Kill List is a 2011 British psychological horror movie. Directed by Ben Wheatley, it stars Neil Maskell, Mayanna Buring, and Michael Smiley. 8 months after a disastrous job in Kiev left him mentally and physically scarred, an ex-soldier turned contract killer is pressured into taking a new assignment. This movie is badass. It is one of those movies that leads you down one path and then completely changes at one point, throwing you completely off guard, because at least in my case, I did not expect this movie to do some of the things that it does. And I'm not here to spoil that at all for you. I want you to just enjoy it for what it is. But it gets violent and gory and graphic. It's really a badass little movie. It also gets very dark and grim and will definitely leave you uncomfortable and disturbed. This is a phenomenal psychological horror movie and one that I highly, highly recommend.
This can't be real.
Of course it's not real.
Regression is a 2015 psychological mystery horror movie. Written and directed by Alejandro Amenabar, it stars Ethan Hawke, Emma Watson, and David Thewlis. It tells the story of a detective who uncovers evidence of a satanic cult while investigating the rape of a traumatized teen girl.
It's incredibly important that you tell us everything.
They'll kill me.
Nobody's gonna hurt you anymore.
This is another one that surprised me, because for a big chunk of this, it feels kind of like a crime drama mystery as he's slowly but surely putting the pieces together. But as it gets further and further along, it gets more and more dark, more and more twisted, and definitely more mysterious. But I've just become such a big fan of Ethan Hawke, and just everything I see him in, he's just so captivating. And I thought him and Emma Watson both give great performances in this. But it gets creepy and uncomfortable and moody, and I love the way that it's shot, the lighting, lighting, the coloring, it just feels ominous. But if you enjoy crime drama, mystery thrillers that have a hard edge to them, this is one you should definitely check out. Braid is a 2018 psychological horror movie. Written and directed by Mitzi Perroni, it stars Madeline Brewer, Imogen Waterhouse, and Sarah Hay. Two wanted women decide to steal from a wealthy yet mentally unstable friend who lives in a fantasy world. But to do so, the fugitives must take part in a deadly yet perverse game of make-believe.
Once we get into the house, whatever she asks you to do, you're gonna have to do it. No excuses. She says, we obey.
This is a gorgeous, but yet really strange and uncomfortable film. It's very fantastical, and you're constantly just trying to figure out exactly what's going on because it doesn't really give you too much. It little by little leads you into this world, and you start to understand more and more about what's going on. But it takes a lot of fun twists and turns along the way, keeping you off kilter and never knowing what to expect next. But it's gorgeously shot. The costume design, cinematography, lighting, just everything about how this movie looks is fantastic. It also gets dark and creepy and really uncomfortable as well. But I think this is a tremendous hidden gem, and for any fan of horror, it should be at the top of your list.
There's no place like home.
Yellow Brick Road is a 2010 found footage horror movie. Directed by Jesse Holland and Andy Minton. It stars Cassidy Freeman, Anessa Ramsey, and Laura Hesley. The story is about an expedition to discover the fate of an entire town that disappeared into the wilderness 70 years earlier.
Nobody will talk to us.
There is no trailhead.
But there is a trailhead. There's even a marker. It says Yellow Brick Road.
Here's another one that really flies under the radar. I know a lot of you guys love found footage movies, and yet I never hear anyone mention this one. And I think for a tiny, low budget, indie found footage movie, it's great because it does a lot of things that I hadn't really seen done before, and it has this really uncomfortable edge to it. It also lives in that world that reminds me a lot of what's becoming really popular in the online world of entertainment, with things like the backrooms and even creepypasta. It just has that real small, simple, quiet, yet uncomfortable vibe to it, where there's not a lot of special effects. There's not these huge, grand ideas. Instead, it deals in the uncomfortability of dread and just slowly taking you into this creepy unknown, this weird environment. And I think this does a great job of that with the sound and the little things that it does show you. It continually draws you in and gets more and more uncomfortable as it goes. But if that sounds like something that creeps you the fuck out, then you should definitely put this on your list.
Why are you moving?
Crone Wood is a 2016 found footage horror movie, written and directed by Mark Sheridan. It stars Ed Murphy and Elva Trill. A young couple decide to go camping after going on a wonderful first date, but they quickly regret their trip into the woods.
There's nobody following us. Come on.
I'm telling you.
Hello?
Daddy, we have to get out of here.
So I say this one for last because on this list, this is probably my favorite recent discovery found footage movie. Because I mean, in a lot of ways, it just feels like a lot of other found footage movies. But as this one goes along, it does start to feel different. The way that it's shot, the style of it, the creepy elements, the way they build up, the little things that you do see, it gets more and more bizarre and creepy as it goes. I just think the production level that went into this is more than you see in most found footage movies. Everything from the costume design, the set, the way that it's done, even though they're mostly in the wilderness, just everything about how it's shot and put together, it just felt a lot more quality than what you usually see. But as it goes along, I just found it to be gripping and chilling and made me very uncomfortable. But if you're a fan of found footage, I think this is one you will definitely enjoy. But either way, do yourself a favor this weekend, pick one of the movies off of this list, grab your popcorn and your candy, and enjoy! But that's going to do it for me today. Thank you so much for checking this out. If you enjoyed it, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and ding that little bell, because that is the best way to keep track of this channel and when I post videos like this, and I post videos like this every single week. I also want to give a huge, massive, enormous thank you to the Ghost Pirate crew, to you guys over on Patreon, and to the channel members over here. You guys absolutely mean the world to me. But if you would like to help support this channel over on Patreon, there's a link down in the description. Or if you want to become a channel member and help support the channel that way, there's a button right down there that says join. But like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button, and remember guys, horror can be fun! And if you enjoyed this, click right here to watch me talk about 10 more movies that I think you should definitely check out. And I'll see you guys next time!